brothers and sisters in the ministry, go for it, just take that next step.
Hi folks, and welcome to Humans of the Pro-Life Movement, an initiative of the Pro-Life Guys podcast where we explore the lives of the incredible men and women who are making sacrifices for the benefit of the weak and vulnerable, the preborn children of our country and from around the world. And today I'm joined by a very good friend and a very cool guest, Father Justin Huang. How are you doing, and thank you for joining us?
Yeah, doing very well. Excited to be here because just love sharing about pro-life.
Good stuff. Well, I'm excited to dive into it. But before we dive into kind of your role that you've been playing in the pro-life movement in the Archdiocese of Vancouver, I'd love to just get to know you a little bit better. For the sake of the audience, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah, so 41 years old, grew up in Richmond, British Columbia, wasn't raised Catholic. Started going to Mass when I was 13, had a profound conversion experience. Entered the seminary after high school, became a priest 15 years ago. I love Jesus with all my heart. Can't tell you how much I do. I also love sports. It's so much fun. So really, yeah, and it's great being a priest.
Gotcha. This is good. This is something that we bonded on, both Catholicism and sports, because I'm a huge sports guy as well. And so every time I'm out to Vancouver, it's great to be able to connect. Let's dive into the pro-life issue then. Let's dive into kind of your journey towards your passion for preborn children, for the pro-life movement in general. Where did that start, and what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I'm really blessed, Cam, that God just arranged things in my life. So when I joined the youth group Life Team when I was 16 years old, I remember just after our retreat, we had a pro-life, what do you call it? What's the, not the March for Life, that we'd done, Life Chain, locally. And I was a new kind of excited young guy, and I was like, whoa, what is going on? I hadn't heard about the abortion issue, but that just planted a beautiful seed. 2 years later, I heard Stephanie Gray speak. We're the same age. We were both 18, and she just gave a powerful presentation. And then my brother started working with Stephanie, my oldest brother, Brendan. And that just planted so many seeds in my heart. I saw the graphic photos. I heard the statistics. I heard the truth. And then, I've always loved the truth. I want it. And so that just convicted my heart. And I grew in the seminary. We had good seminary formation here in Mission, British Columbia, and then in New York. And so, yeah, it just grew from there.
That's fantastic. And I love how many of these people that I've spoken to have traced their origins back to Stephanie Gray Connors, a great friend of ours, founder of CCBR, obviously. And so I think it's very cool how many people she got going in the movement here. And so from then, so you get involved in your teenage years, you get more and more involved as you become a priest, and with the parish that you shepherd in the Archdiocese of Vancouver. I'm curious, are there any kind of memories that stand out over the last however many years from your time doing pro-life outreach, doing pro-life events and whatnot that are really memorable for you? And if so, could you share one or two of them?
Yeah. So, I mean, the one that stands out the most is something that just happened recently back in February. So I've been pastor here at St. Anthony of Padua for 7 years. And I'd say for the past 3 years, we would spend 4 weeks every, let's say, February. And we would call it, the theme of all the homilies was pro-life parish. And this year, finally, after some preparation during the Sunday homily, I told the people, we showed graphic abortion photos. We explained it, and it convicted so many hearts. And I think the reason why that one stands out to me is because I think in some ways I'm being faithful. I'm trying to be faithful to my vocation. As a priest, I must speak up. I must be that prophet. And to see that we did something that was right, that we did something that impacted people. I mean, really good positive feedback. Actually, sorry, that homily, and it was mostly watched on YouTube, got 2,060 views over that weekend. So that's good for our parish. And when I talked to people who came for communion, very, very well received, and it shocked people, but because of course the pictures, they're not ready for it, and that was beautiful. So that's one. I don't know what you think about that. If you want to respond to that, I have two others that come to mind, but go for it.
Gotcha. I think that's fantastic. And I've been so encouraged by your ministry at St. Anthony Padua. We've had the opportunity to partner on a few different projects, and I've been
Yeah.
blown away by the response of the congregation at St. Anthony's
Mm.
in their passion, in their interest. And I think that's beautiful that you're able to share that. We've spoken on the program with Father Frank Pavone from Priest for Life, who
Oh,
shared
yeah,
similar kind of stories
sure.
of sharing with congregations the truth of
Yeah.
what abortion does to a preborn child to anchor the conversation.
Mm.
So I think that's really neat. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to hear the other kind of experiences that you've had as well.
Yeah, the next one that comes to my mind is three people in our parish, I mean, shared their own healing from abortion. So two women and a man. And for them to get up in front of the parish and go public with their sin and then God's mercy and their healing and the strength, that's, again, really healing for a lot of people. And it becomes more and more normal to say, I stand up for life, even if I've made a huge mistake, a huge sin in the past. I mean, just to see the growth in openness, and then other people tell them later after Mass, well, thank you, something similar happened in my family, etc. And the final great little story is just in March. It was so exciting when I visited the classrooms at our St. Anthony Padua school. The grade sixes brought up the issue of abortion. And what really hit me on this one is my best class visit ever is that the parents are talking to their kids. And some of those parents are doing a phenomenal job communicating the value of life, the life of the preborn. And so when the grade six get that, I mean, that's really a good culture change for our small parish. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so beautiful, especially, yeah, the parents kind of passing this on to their children, because tragically, there's far too many parents who, whether they wait too long or whether they're just uncomfortable having that conversation, and then they find out years later that their daughter had an abortion when she was 18 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. So encouraging that they're having
Yeah.
that. And for that second story as well, of just the courage from those people sharing their own testimony and really sharing the true nature of the pro-life movement. This isn't a movement that wants to stand up on a soapbox and condemn people and point down at people
Right.
and try to elevate ourselves above others, but rather when we see those decisions in the past, we want healing. We want hope. We want
Yeah.
reconciliation for those
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And then we want to walk with them on their journey forward so they can help others not make that same decision. So I think that's absolutely beautiful. The last question, Father, that we love to ask, and a bit of a different angle on it for you with your priestly vocation, is for somebody who is a member of the clergy, whether a priest or a pastor involved in the church leadership at their home congregation. What would you say to them to encourage them to be more actively pro-life in their congregation, more direct, more engaging with their congregation?
Yeah, I think to my brother pastors and priests in the Lord's Vineyard, I think the best place to start is start with your heart. A lot of us are pro-life, and sometimes we just don't know where to start. And so a great way to do it in a homily or a sermon is to say to our people whom we love, to say, I'm wrestling with something, and the people want to hear what you're wrestling with. And you say vulnerably, and you say, I'm wrestling with the pro-life message, with abortion. I've said this before. I don't know how to I say to the people, I don't know how to say this to you. I've actually said in homilies, I'm trying to strike the right tone here. I'm trying to call you to be better, but I'm not trying to overwhelm you. And I think when we're just really clear and vulnerable, that's the best place to start, and it grows. that's where I'd start. I mean, I have more to say if you want me to add.
I would love everything, but I think that's a great starting point of just that vulnerability that you might not have all of the answers, but you want to have them, and you think that it's an important topic to touch on. But I'd love to hear about whatever other suggestions you'd have, because
so it starts there. It really starts there, that we kind of break the ice, and you let people sit with it, that this is something important to Father, and you don't want to hurt people, but because that's a typical reaction. Well, some people will be offended, some people will be hurt, some people will be shocked, but you start there, and then some months later, again, you listen to the readings, see how God is speaking, and then you revisit it again. And basically what I've done, and it's just a grace from God, is that every year we just go deeper. So how did we get to the point where we actually showed graphic abortion photos? And Archbishop Miller, he knows about it, and he was okay with it. And again, I didn't get one complaint from our parishioners. I got one complaint from someone who doesn't even belong to our parish, and it wasn't a fair complaint. So this is really well received. So my point is, how did we get to that point where something so unusual happened at Mass in a very well prepared way? And we got to it because I mentioned it 2 years ago. I said, I think we're growing in our love for life and in our courage, that I think we're ready. I think in the future, I said, we'll have to show the photos. And then, you know what? I asked the parishioners, can you give me feedback? Or does that work for you? And, the best feedback was from the parents. A lot of the parents said, Father, I support it, but just let me know, because I've got some very sensitive younger children. Just let us know, because I don't think they can handle it. And so even that day that Sunday when we showed the photos, we gave warning before Mass, during the homily. And then, some kids turned away, and then other kids chose to watch. And again, no complaints. So my point is, you start gradually and you build, and God will take you.
Amen. That is beautiful. And I love that dynamic relationship with the parish, with the congregation, and having that understanding. I think that a lot of pro-lifers they're worried that, I have to, nobody's going to want this to be in the message that I'm sharing. And so either I'm going to have to not include the images, or I'm going to have to spring them upon people because everyone's going to turn away if I give them notice. And yet I think that your example is a perfect example, that you gave very, very clear heads up of, this is my intention. This is why, interaction with the congregation. And then you get 2,600 views of the homily. That this isn't something that that kind of ballpark, that this isn't something that normally you would get hundreds or thousands, and you got 14 views that week because nobody wanted to see another abortion homily. I think that's beautiful, and speaks to the value of that clarity, that transparency, and building that relationship with the congregation. So I think that's phenomenal, Father.
If I could add one final thought, is that I think for us priests and pastors, the Lord is calling us to be more bold. Because I think what we've done in the past is we kind of bind our hearts and our hands, and we want to say something, we don't know where to start. But the Lord is really calling us to more courage. And so I keep on praying. I say to Jesus, I want to do your will. Show me how. Open up doors for us. And sometimes we make mistakes in our ministry, but he redeems it, and we try again. So, brothers and sisters in the ministry, go for it, just take that next step.
Amen. That is fantastic. Thank you so much, Father, for joining me today on this Humans of the Pro-Life Movement episode. It is so cool to get people from different walks of life and showcase how you can be actively and passionately pro-life, regardless of what your vocation, whatever your job or your ministry is. You can be actively pro-life and actively transforming our culture together. So thank you very much for joining. And for our audience, if this is new to you, please check out our other episodes of Humans of the Pro-Life Movement. You can find them here on our YouTube channel. You can also check out our other content, our flagship Pro-Life Guys podcast, where we cover different apologetics questions and different ways to navigate conversations about abortion. You can also check out our monthly roundup of the important and interesting abortion-related news from around the world, talked about through a pro-life perspective on The Pulse. You can find us on all your favorite podcast catchers, as well as on YouTube and our website, prolifeguys.com. Thanks so much, and hope you have a great rest of your day.